Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Press Pass Live. Thank you so much for tuning into the show today. We have a jam-packed show, and finally, we've got Houday back with us. And so there's nothing more important than having the full gang back. The trio is back together. Let me just welcome in my guests, D-Wayne and Houday. Guys, welcome to the show on a beautiful Saturday in the Bayou.
What's going on, Nate? Good to be back.
What's going on?
It's a glorious day. We are in the off-season. Hope springs eternal. Season 5 is going to be here before we know it. It's season 72 for the OMFL, which is a really big thing. We got a big show today. At the very end, we've got a guest that's going to be with us today from the PX1 League, which is a community of leagues, which includes a Madden league that is out there. And so we're going to bring the commission in and let him kind of talk about some CFM stuff that we got in on Twitter. But before we get there, let's talk about where we got up to season 71 and got us here today in season 72 in the offseason. Let's talk about the playoffs, fellas. It was a very classic playoff. I think almost all the games are really super classic games, and they really did not boil the way we thought they were going to. It didn't really quite get where we thought we were going to get. There were some shockers in there. I guess we can't be too shocked. Ducks doing very Duck stuff, showing up and winning his second championship here. So let's just talk about the playoffs leading up to the bowl game. Then we'll talk about the bowl game. Give me your thoughts about the playoffs in general. What stuck out to you? What surprised you? Both of you, of course, were really deep in it. I was calling for a rematch between both of you. Didn't get there. So talk to me about the playoffs.
I think it was really it was more competitive than I thought it was going to be. There were some teams that snuck in that I didn't even think were going to get in. That this year I think anybody could have made it. San Francisco had a great team. The Dolphins, I mean, they had the Patriots beat. The Patriots came back. I think like 4 touchdowns. And late in the third and came all the way back and won in overtime. Seahawks could have been there. They knocked off Wayne, the defending champion. Patriots upset me. It was crazy. It's not how I thought it would pan out, but it was competitive. And I think Cincy getting in there, Ducks. We got 2 different guys in the Super Bowl, even though Ducks has won it before. I think it's good for the league to have 2 guys, in the Super Bowl that weren't there last year. So I think it was positive.
Yeah, he said it right. I'd be lying if I said I would want to stay in the championship again. But it was a very competitive postseason. Like I said, he really could have went anywhere. I still think, I know Nate will mess with me about this one, I still think Ducks was the favorite going in. It was, if somebody can knock off Ducks, and really he escaped the first 2 rounds because this was the postseason of the missed field goals. Missed field goals really shaped this postseason. And like I said, it worked out, and sometimes you need more luck than skill sometimes to keep going, and I'm a testament to that. But it was the Super Bowl was great. It was just a fun postseason. And like Houday said, it's nice to see other teams. As much as I would love to be there again, it's nice to see other teams win it because it's just good for the league to see diversity and the winning and the championships. It was fun.
All right, you two with your freaking sun shining and blue skies and birds. Like, this is the thing that you guys didn't talk about. You kind of barely hit on it, but the 49ers missed a chip shot field goal, like an easy field goal. He should make 10 out of 10 tries. That lets Ducks right off the hook. Ducks shouldn't even be in the bowl. And then you look at Miami. Miami had like a 25-point lead going in the fourth quarter, whatever that was. An interception that was fumbled that was recovered by the Patriots, which led to the field goal, which tied the game to go into overtime. Like, those are 2 crazy games that is your 2 Super Bowl contenders that are in the OMFL Bowl this year. Both got let off the hook by the 49ers and the Dolphins. Like, that is some crazy, crazy stuff.
Yeah, you're right.
I didn't see it coming. I don't remember ever seeing 2 games like that in our league so far. San Francisco, just being honest, I'm a 500 guy. I have a great roster, so it does a lot for me.
Time out. No. No, you ain't doing that, okay? You lost 3 games last year, so you can go ahead and hang that 500 crap right on back where you got it.
Well, I'll be honest. Out of all the teams in the playoffs, the one team I didn't want to play is San Francisco. I would have rather played Ducks, being 100% honest. Looking at his roster, the way San Francisco built that defense, I only lost 3 games this season. And the only game I think that I probably couldn't win was when San Francisco beat me. He didn't just beat me. I couldn't do anything, and I didn't have a game plan on how to do anything if I played him again. So he's built a good team. I think he'll be back next year.
All right, so let's talk about the bowl. Oh, go ahead, Wayne.
No, I was just going to say you were right about the 49ers really, and I hate to say they deserved it, but they did everything right to beat Ducks in that game and to lose it on a chip shot field goal.
He didn't move his hip. He didn't move it. Unless I'm blind, I watched the stream. He didn't move it. He left it right at the pole, and he shanked it right. I was like, you didn't move it. He's like, well, I thought the wind. I was like, you gotta move the kick.
Yeah, that's a killer.
Yeah.
That's a killer. And like I said, the Redskins, if I'm not mistaken, y'all can correct me, didn't the Redskins miss a field goal against Ducks to lose too?
I think he did.
Something like that. Yeah.
And then you were talking about the Dolphins and Pats. He was down 31-9 going into the fourth quarter.
Crazy.
31-9. That's crazy. And that, like I said, that's a heck of a playoff game.
Yep, and both of you lost some tight games. I knew that Seattle was going to be a headache for you. I was surprised though Seattle didn't give a little bit stronger of a game to Ducks. I really thought this was Seattle's year. And then we can talk about this in a minute, but both of those teams, the Eagles and Seattle, cut a ton of people to spend a ton of money. And boy, this was the year to do that. But like I said, we'll get there here in a minute. Let's talk about the bowl game, Patriots versus Eagles. How do you think that game was? I know that it was a pretty good game, but not a classic OMFL game. There are a few little things that a little disappointing to see in the OMFL bowl game, but the thirst is real when it counts. What did you think about it? How did you think it played out?
It surprised me. First, I was surprised when I lost to New England. It's nothing against Cincy as a player. As a player on the sticks, I think he's top 5 in this league easy. But it's the way he builds his roster. I thought he couldn't match up against me. I really thought that it was going to be one-sided when he played Ducks, but it wasn't. He had a nice little lead for the first half of the game. But in the end, Ducks was just too much. When it comes to the stick skills, nobody's going to argue that, he's, probably number 1, at least top 2 or 3. So, I hats off to Cincy. He did his homework. I felt I lost to him, and I felt good about it, because he played a heck of a game, and he did a really great job against Ducks playing with the roster that he has.
Now, before we go to Wayne, I didn't get to watch all of this game because it happened at like 4 o'clock in the morning or something, but I watched the first few drives, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there were some crazy, like, back-to-back turnovers and turning over deep in each other's territory and interceptions and fumbles. Like, it was a crazy little start to the game.
Oh, yeah, it was. I figured, how he played against me, some short routes, quick throws, that's okay. But, with Ducks, I mean, you can't throw across the middle.
No.
I think ultimately that's what got him. You got to pound the ball a little bit, and I think that's what he was missing.
Yeah, he's right. You had to change your game plan going from Houday to Ducks, even though, like I said, I had Houday going to the Super Bowl. So the Patriots upsetting him. It surprised me, not saying that I don't think Cincy's good enough to beat Houday. I just thought Houday was on such a roll that I honestly didn't think anybody would match up with him until he got to Ducks. Like I said, the Super Bowl was it's just real funny seeing them because, like I said, they used to be rivals in the AFC. And so it was a fun game to watch, but it was an interesting one because Ducks played uncharacteristically loose with the ball. He turned it over. The Pats have always been such a high-octane offense that he turns the ball over to me. In my opinion, he turns the ball over more, but he kind of offsets it, which to me was surprising that Ducks still – the Pats had a chance to win it. The Pats are right there in it. Ducks pulled it off, which I think most people thought Ducks would pull it off, but I think the Patriots made it to a real good game.
All right, so let's transition. We got the Eagle champions now rolling into the offseason. And, man, I know every league, especially since we've got another commission that's on with us today, every league kind of has to figure out their own system, what works for their community. And I know that our system is not perfect, but it works for us. And the point of our system is to force most teams are not forced with Madden to really have to like super pay attention to their signings, to their drafts, to their roster. Like there's a lot of flexibility, but especially since Huday's kind of helped us clean up some cap clearing issues that we've had, our system really is working. And that system was to force guys to pay attention to their rosters, to their contracts, to their aging veterans, to the trades that they made, and to make free agency a real thing. And it has worked. And man, this free agent period was absolutely loaded. I know everyone was super excited about last year. Oh, let me go ahead and get in here. Let's see if this thing's going to crash on me. Don't crash. Please don't crash. Yes, it crashed. All right. Let me load this back up while we talk. But last year, I know that everybody was super excited about the free agent period. I felt that it was a little top heavy. I thought that was a lot to do about nothing. But this year, man, there's some really good players out there. There are some studs that are out there that are going to dramatically change the way things look in this league for these last two seasons as we roll into the summer and get ready for Madden 18 soon. There's some good players out here. So talk to me about the free agent period. What did you think about it? Who stuck out that really surprised you? And, man, we can talk about, even after this, who we feel like has the biggest opportunity to make the biggest splash and really change the way power is set up in the AFC and NFC. So, free agent period, D-Wayne, what do you think about it?
It's been fun. I'll say that much. I was actually just logging in because for some reason when you said yours crashed, mine for some reason froze up or something because I'm keeping an eye on people going after my guys right now. But it's been fun. People have a lot of money to spend. Some people have a lot of money to spend. I'm not one of those guys. Some people did some really good GMing, I guess you'd say. But like I said, you have some really big names this year, and like I said, I don't know if it's people expiring or if it's just people that cutting loose ends for this last 2-year push, especially some teams that weren't quite, how should I say it, in the upper tier of teams. A lot of teams feel like this is their off season to get the guys to put them in that upper tier, and I think it's good for the league. Like I said, I think we have a real good system on, not allowing people to sign guys for 5 years because it makes free agency interesting. You see some stars hit there, and some people that aren't blessed with great rosters have a chance to get those stars without, working draft wonders or. And to me, it makes it fun. Like I said, you got, I think, like 15 guys that are 90 overall or better right now, and 4 or 5 of them are iconic guys: Cam Newton, Odell Beckham, Julio Jones, Paxton Lynch. It's just crazy. A Todd
What happened to
Gurley,
your
Miles
voice
Jack.
when you got to Julio? You okay?
It hurt my heart. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Don't get choked up.
Just say that.
It's gonna be all right.
It's a business. I've been told this whole time since I've been here that I get too attached to players. This was my first, business decision, and it still hurts to say it. But like I said, it's good for the league. I see some guys bidding on him. I hope whoever gets him uses him well. I think that the way we do our free agency period is fun, and I think it is really good for our league.
Oh, I agree 100%. I think without the 5-year rule that we have, at least for our league, it works for us. You wouldn't see half these guys in here.
Mm-hmm.
The quarterback, Paxton Lynch, Russell Wilson, Cam Newton, Andy Dalton, Matt Ryan, Eli Manning. What else do you want? Half the league, quarterback-wise, is in free agency. Some of that I think is 5-year deals. Some of that is guys, last 2 or 3 seasons, guys want to change it up a little bit. Go after somebody that they've wanted that they haven't had a chance at. And then you see some guys like Gurley and Freeman that have continuously, popped up in free agency because of bad contracts. In our league, you have to really try to manage your cap, especially with only having one cap reset, which you have to earn. And I think the incentive plan's doing its job. Those gold teams that have a cap reset, they have a little bit more money, but since it's only, once per Madden cycle, it's not going to be an every year dominating free agency type of thing. There's some teams that I'm kind of scratching my head about. I don't want to see everybody offer huge contracts to one guy.
There's the guy with 205 points from Kruger Hill.
But you can't take the money with you, fellas. If you've been waiting, the past 3-4 seasons to make a splash, now's the time to do it. Cough, cough, Cleveland Browns. Go get some players, bro. Do your thing.
Can we talk about that for a second? Now, I don't want to interrupt you. I want you to finish your thought, but for just a second, we're running out of time here. I want to get to PX1. I want to honor his time. So in the next 5 minutes, we need to do this and then talk about. And then I got a little surprise I want to show you guys. But the Browns, what is up with him? He really went out and rebuilt his team. He had 2 really great drafts back to back. He's got money. And there are serious playmakers at receiver, at quarterback, at running back. He's had every top running back that this league has to offer, especially if he signs Freeman this offseason. What is going on in Cleveland?
It feels like some guys get hung up on that dollar amount, but you can't take that money with you. It doesn't carry over to Madden 18. If we end and you have $20 million, that's a game changer impact player you could have had on your team. He's got a bid in now on Paxton Lynch. I think he's probably going to get Freeman because the Bears really just don't have anything more to offer a running back. If he gets those 2 guys, hopefully it'll be the start of something. But don't stop there. He'll still have money. These are low offers. There's still a lot of impact players. So, Outlaw, if you're listening, buddy, go get you some speed. You need some speed on defense in the North, man.
Yeah, you said it. Well, I'm sorry, Nate.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, this is the year, Outlaw. I know me and you are buddies. You got to get you a quarterback. You've been wanting a quarterback. There's quarterbacks to be had. You need to throw the checkbook at Paxton Lynch. I'm telling you. There's plenty. You couldn't go wrong with about 3 or 4 of those quarterbacks. But Lynch is young, and Lynch is and like I said, Glaze has built Lynch up nice. If I had the money to go after Lynch, I would do it. That was just my 2 cents. I wanted to go to Outlaw.
I'm frustrated. I tried everything I could to get in the Cam Newton sweepstakes. I want Cam so freaking bad on my team. I tried to trade for him. I just couldn't afford his contract. I've cut guys all day long trying to figure out how to come up with the money. I just couldn't even come close on him or Odell Beckham. So as we transition to talk about in the next 3 minutes, so I'll give you a minute and a half each, about teams that have the biggest opportunity to make an impact, I do want to show you my surprise. Now, part of our system is random advances, and this is the first time we're ever going to do this, but bam, here we go. We're out of here for week 1. We are now sitting in week 2. So not only can we talk about teams that made the greatest impact, but you guys are going to see who actually won in week 1. Now, here's what's going to happen is we're going to sit here until Sunday sometime. It's going to be early because the draft is going to be Sunday. Early could mean 8 in the morning. Early could be noon. Early could be 3 in the afternoon. But we will advance to stage 3 and then stay from stage 3 until sometime I feel like is appropriate right before the draft. That could mean 5, could mean 6, could mean 7, could mean 7:59. I don't know. We'll have to see. But this is the part of the system that I like. Random advances. Make your bids count. I hate freaking guys who go in there and try to snipe and try to save. Make your bid like a man. Put your balls on the table. Let's see what you got. That's why we do random advances. So talk to me about, and we'll start with Hude. Talk to me about the teams that you feel have the greatest chance to make an impact this offseason. And while you're talking, I'm going to go ahead and scroll through the league signings that just took place.
I think that there's definitely 2 that stick out to me. One of those is our champion, the Philadelphia Eagles with Ducks, and the other one is Mo, that seems to have adopted a new philosophy, which I didn't expect and we really haven't seen before, and I'm not quite sure how it's going to work out. But with Ducks, he comes in with, I think, around $80 million in cap space, and for the Super Bowl champion to come in with $80 million cap space, we're in trouble. So I've seen him in some bidding wars, with some people lose out on the guys he really wanted, but in the end, I think that may work to his advantage because that's just more players that he's going to get in round 2 and 3. I'm not sure if he got Odell Beckham, but if he did, we're in trouble. Ducks with pretty much the best receiver in the game,
and he got Kendrick.
Okay, well, and he got not 84 or so speed. Ducks can make it work. He doesn't have to have elite speed. He likes it, but he doesn't need it. I seen he had a bid on another guy, a defensive end. I can't recall his name, but he's a 86, 87 speed guy, great player. So, he has all the pieces for his defense, it sounds like already. He's got a big weapon in Odell. I think he's obviously going to be way better than he was, so everybody be ready. The other guy, Mo, he's kind of taking the players on his roster. Last year, he signed a couple of my guys that I let walk, signed them to not big contracts. He got most of his guys in the third round, late second stage, to smaller contracts with no penalty. And so this year, what he's able to do, he's able to cut those players going into free agency, and potentially even sign them back for less. So 1-year contracts do have their advantages if you'll wait till that third stage to sign your guys. He's cut a few guys that I'm kind of iffy about, like Russell Wilson. There are some other quarterbacks there he could pick from, but it's risk reward. If you cut your franchise players and somebody else takes them, it only takes one big mistake and your season's in the dumps with no quarterback. So the jury's still out, but he definitely has an opportunity to come back way better than what he had this year.
All right, Houday took some of your time, so 1 minute. Let's talk about it. What do you think about free agent period?
Well, he said it right. The Eagles and Seahawks, man, they had the most money, if I'm not mistaken. If not, they had top end. And they're both real good teams. They both reloaded. The people, to me, that really slept is the Ravens made a lot of moves, and he was on the brink last year of breaking through.
He won the toilet bowl.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, he won toilet bowl. He picked up Ty Gurley to run. He picked up a few nice guys. I know I don't have much time to look. And I did like Massimo picking up. I liked Massimo picking up, and I know I'm biased, picking up Julio to replace Hopkins. Massimo made a couple big pickups that I think will help him because he had a real good season going last year. And I think if he can build on that rookie quarterback he has, he can make an impact this year.
Yeah, not much that I could add. It's amazing how the Eagles have done what they've done. And yeah, NFC, we got our work cut out for us unless we want another back-to-back champion because this guy has loaded up that roster, and he's going to be pretty darn good, especially with those quarterbacks that he has. He's got 2 outstanding quarterbacks, one that I wish I could have my hands on. I just don't have enough firepower to get him. Man, it's going to be really, really tough for a lot of teams there in the NFC. The Patriots were pretty quiet to me. The Cowboys have made some noise. They signed some pretty good guys. So it's going to make for a very interesting season for season 72. And here we are. We're sitting in stage 2. We'll sit in stage 2 for a little bit. Now let's transition to our last segment. And as I do that, I'm going to unmute our friend here from the PX1. A few days ago, give me a little bit of background and context here. A few days ago, of course, we have a Twitter page. I'm not a big Twitter guy, but a lot of guys in the league were asking for it. So we really just use it to promote our league, follow everybody else, and just kind of promote what's going on out there. I'm a big believer in, if guys think that the grass is greener on the other side, they're more than welcome to go try other leagues out. I don't care. We are who we are, and we kind of stick to it. That's why we've been around for 16 years. And so one of those guys that we met was through PX1. I had heard about PX1, of course, through a couple of owners I think that had been there before or are there now currently. And there was an interesting thread that was started the other day. That's lack of a better word, but it was a Twitter chat almost between a bunch of different guys, just talking about the CFM movement, the kind of all the leagues out there that are really begging for attention from EA. Now, I do feel like EA gave us a lot of tools this year, which is super, super nice. But we do know that the MUT teams get a lot of the love. They kind of get a lot of the attention, and not a lot of attention was moved over to us. And so a thread was started, and a lot of interesting conversations came out of there. So I want to spend 5 good minutes with this fella here. Let me bring him in. The commish from the PX1, man. Thank you for joining us today and for your time today. Welcome to Press Pass Live. How are you today?
Good. Can you guys hear me?
We got you, my
Yeah.
friend.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that Twitter combo was interesting. There was, the last time I looked, there was like 686 replies or something to
I
it.
couldn't keep up.
Yeah, it was and I'll own my part. I'm chatty, so I'm chatty and opinionated, so I definitely kept it going. But
before we get into it, though, tell us who you are. Tell us about your community. Tell us about how long you've been doing this. Give us some context of who you are.
Okay, so we're px1sports.com. We start off running Madden leagues. Well, actually, we started off in NCAA, and then we've branched out and we transitioned over to Madden. We've also done a UFC league. We've tried to get the show league going. So basically, we're really big on sim. You mentioned we've had some guys come through, and it was funny hearing you talk about Outlaw looking for a quarterback, because he was looking for one for the entire run of our league too. So I guess that just kind of follows him wherever he goes. Yeah. So no, we just we've been online, I think, now for 4 versions of Madden. And then I helped out at Tradition Sports for a couple of years running leagues over there before I branched out on my own. So been in the game for a little bit, and just really in the sim and trying to do things that change the way people think about leagues. We do live play-by-play. We've done a red zone show, try to do stuff like that. Try to do a podcast, but I do one on my own, but we haven't been able to get a league one going that's quite as good as y'all. So hopefully we can borrow from y'all's success and maybe implement that next year.
Man, we're just a bunch of amateurs trying to have some fun. Like I said, I love following a lot of leagues, your community. I know, like the Bomber League, there's some dudes doing some amazing production. I'm all self-taught. I just kind of do this on the side. It's a ton of fun. I love doing it. There are guys who have way more talent than me that are out there that are doing stuff, and I just kind of steal ideas from them. But let's get to the conversation that kind of got you and I connected a little bit, and that is I've luckily been doing this since 2001. Honestly, somebody just gave me like Madden 99. I just got it some way, somehow for a computer. That's back like when computers were like the thing. And I popped it in and I was like, this is really, really cool. Of course, PlayStation and all that didn't have online capability, that sort of thing. I've been playing Madden since I was, a teenager or whatever. And then Madden in 2001 came out and it had online capability. And I had some way, somehow, again, got connected with the Tecmo Bowl Super Bowl online league. They were actually, and they're still out there playing through the computer with updated rosters and drafts, and it like opened my mind to what online gameplay in leagues could be. And so when Madden came out with it, I just stole the idea that they were doing in this Tecmo Bowl league that I was in, and started with Madden. And a lot of leagues, of course, started back then. That was like in the heyday of Madden online leagues when they first came out. I think at one time we had 4 different Madden leagues underneath us. We had a waiting list of 100 people. I think everybody had that. There were just some really great leagues out there, some really, really fun stuff on dedicated server, IP to IP connections, computer programs that could completely do whatever you wanted to with the Madden. It just was a whole lot of fun. And so I've been addicted ever since, and I've been doing it ever since. And like you at PX1, we've grown to now we have we're connected with a WWE league that's been doing it for 12 years. We have our own show league that's ran by Houday. We have a coach mode Madden league, a golf league, a FIFA team. So a lot of really fun stuff. But talk to me for just a minute about CFM, about the movement, and why it's so important that we just kind of bond together, get our name out there, get EA to take notice that we are a community that's out there just like the MUT teams.
Well, I think the biggest thing in your approach to that is, when I heard you say, if you think the grass is greener, cool. Be confident in what you're doing, and if people want to be a part of what you are, cool. And if not, go somewhere else. That's fine. I think a lot of us, and we've been in this mindset for most of our existence is that you got to kind of protect what you got, and fight for the best guys and keep the best guys, and try to sell yourself as the best league so that people come and join you. And what I've come to realize over the last, well, mostly this Madden cycle, and more so only over the last few months, is that MUT is getting all the attention because it generates all the revenue. And honestly, unless they do microtransactions and franchise, that's never going to change, right? I mean, MUT's always going to get that. And you have YouTubers out there that are promoting the game by playing online and doing MUT and stuff like that. And franchise, my impression, interpretation at least, is a lot of these CFM guys are like, we've been sitting around and we've been playing this mode for so long, and now the new kid on the block, MUT, comes along, and they've kind of stolen the thunder from us. And instead of embracing that and saying, all right, what do we have to do to bring the attention back on us, we've kind of just fragmented, and people are saying, well, you just need to promote us because we're CFM. And it's like, honestly, even when we do our play-by-play and live broadcasts, I mean, a lot of times we get 20, 30 people. Well, if I'm only broadcasting to 20, 30 people,
Sure.
and somebody else is out there on YouTube and they're getting 1,000 people watching them, why are they going to promote me over him? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, Bomber League's one of them. They're the leader in what everything is going, which is hard for me to say because I feel like we kind of started a lot of the same stuff, but they've just ran with it and done it so much better, and they've got a lot of cool things. But yeah, even them, like, you look on their YouTube even, and they're not getting a ton of views. And so CFM, we have to understand our spot and realize, like, hey, it's not EA's job to promote us and to, yes, they need to give us things in the game so that we can enjoy our $60, but it's not their job to promote us and to tell everybody, hey, you need to come join this movement. It's our job to sell it to them why they should do that. And I don't think by everybody being in their own little group, saying, hey, look at me, and not helping other people, that gets us there. There's only 32 spots in each league, right? There's hundreds of thousands of people playing leagues. There's room for everybody. If we all come together and find ways to promote each other and talk about each other and, watch each other's streams and leagues and stuff like that and get involved with each other, I think that creates a lot bigger ripple in the community. And that's something that EA is going to notice way more than one league that's got 32 guys tuning in for a broadcast.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that two places that could hold a nice key to this could be places like Daddy Leagues, of course, and League Crawler. Now, I got to give League Crawler their credit. Daddy League, I write for them a little bit here and there. It's hard to write about Matt. I mean, there's not a whole lot of new stuff that comes out, but they do a great job, of course, of giving us those Daddy League pages that are just, invaluable to a lot of leagues. League Crawler, though, really does such a great job of promoting leagues, especially with their new Twitch channel, of just promoting what guys are doing, what's out there, helping us as commissioners know, hey, if you have a guy that, quit your league and went and released a bunch of players, where you can let everybody else know so that we're not taking chances on those types of guys. So there's some really good stuff out there. I guess my question, where I'd like to hear your thoughts, I've been playing again since 2001. I think I will always have a special place. I still have the game 2001. I'll always have a special place in my heart. 2001, 2002. Those are some of the best games. That's why I think sometimes I would get frustrated, because that was a long time ago, 16 years ago, and those games were spectacular. So many tools, so much stuff that you could do with it. And then 16, 17 years later, we don't have quite as many tools. It's like, wait a minute, we had that 16 years ago. Why can't we have it now? But I will say, in my opinion, I think that this Madden is one of the best Maddens ever, if not the best Madden ever. Just, they gave us back a lot of tools as a commissioner that we have. What are your thoughts about Madden 17, and kind of what would you like to see happen? I know right now it's like the hot thing to do about wish list and all that. I'm not doing one because there's too many of them out there. We kind of talked about one on our podcast a couple of weeks ago. But what do you think about 17? What are you looking forward to in 18?
Well, I think 17's made a lot of strides this year. Like you said, we've got things added back in as far as franchise mode. I think the game planning feature is great. It just got to be expanded on. I think we need more stats, and I think we need more incentive to have to redo some of these practices and stuff like that, because a lot of it's cool and a lot of it is engaging early on, but after like a season, it's kind of like, all right, well, I've already done everything.
Sure.
It's kind of boring. We got to see more of that. I think we made a lot of steps in the gameplay, and I think the gameplay is very close. I mean, Rex said it on my podcast. I mean, he's not shy about it. They missed by not doing deep zones this year, so I 100% think deep zones are going to be vastly improved in 18. So I think that's a good thing. But I also think they need to learn from 17, in that we made a lot of strides in certain areas, but the lack of the deep zones, honestly, that's gotten to a lot of people. People get tired of not being able to call middle of the field close coverages and just calling cover 1, cover 3, and just hitting posts over the middle over and over. And some of the things that you can't defend, and you look at the tournaments and stuff like that, see the same things over and over. I think they just need to realize that, hey, we did a lot of good things this year, but we've got to figure out and be a little bit more proactive in trying to keep some of these things from happening. Because honestly, in our league, we've had a lot of guys that lost interest in Madden, and this is probably the soonest that we've ever seen that. I mean, it was crazy. We did a poll, and like half of the guys wanted to quit playing Madden because they were bored with it. And I mean, it's frustrating, but that's something that EA has to recognize. And honestly, putting more into franchise mode is going to be a big part of it. I know Rex had said that franchise usage was like up 200% over last year. So that's encouraging. Hopefully more people that are getting in there playing it, they're like, all right, there's a lot of people doing this. And the more we put into it, the more people are going to play it. So then we grow. But they have to do more than take little steps like they did with the game planning. We've got to have something that's more engaging. And I've said this many a times before, but playing Madden in like 06, 07, when they had the Tony Bruno show, that was one of the most fun things for me. I could play that game over and over, and I'd like to just go through my roster and scout my next opponent or whatever, listening to the Tony Bruno show, and see if my coach is going to get interviewed or one of my players are going to get interviewed, or if they're going to notice my big game or whatever. And yeah, it's kind of superficial, but stuff like
that's
that
cool.
Yeah, stuff that's like that keeps guys engaged and keeps them in the franchise mode and paying attention is good. We have a lot of guys that and I'm sure you guys are the same. They're older, they're busy, they got lives, and they kind of get in and they do whatever, and they don't pay as much attention. And I think part of it is because they're not engaged in it. If you had something in there, a highlight show or a radio show like that, and they're talking about it, and you're wanting to listen, so you're like, oh, let me go through. Oh, hey, I didn't realize, I had 10,000 XP on my practice squad player. I should probably spend that. Maybe I could use him somewhere. They just got to do more to keep us engaged. I think 18 has the possibility of. It's hard to say that 17 is not the best. Obviously, they got all of these things, but when you look at it in an overall context of not only gameplay but franchise mode and stuff like that, I still look back to like 05, 06, 07, that 8 range as still being the best Madden, just because there was so much to do as far as franchise. I think this year's going to be big. I think they're going to fix a lot of the gameplay issues. Frostbite's going to help in that. I think they realize that franchise mode's more important, so hopefully we're going to see some big things with that. And I think we're going to see what FIFA got in some kind of single player mode, which is going to help give people other reasons to play Madden and get better. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm a little bit more cautiously optimistic after seeing a lot of the things last year and where things went this year. It's a big community and they're trying to please everybody, but I think there's a lot of good base work and good things to come from 18 and in the future.
Yeah, I think you bring up a ton of good points. I will say, not that Rex will ever listen to this, but man, at least we're not dealing with the MLB, the show servers. Those things are complete crap. Madden has never, ever been that bad. Like, at least we had that. And
absolutely.
I got to say, I'm very interested in the new engine. Of course, we have a FIFA team that, especially us three on here, play. I think that new engine is going to open up a ton of possibilities to really make this game just take it up that next notch when it comes to gameplay. So before we kind of wrap things up, D. Wayne, Houday, you guys have been sitting quietly in the corner. I want to give you an opportunity to ask PX1 any questions that you might have.
Put us on the spot there, Nate.
You don't have to have questions. I'm just giving you the opportunity. Houday, you're never at a loss for words.
Well, I'm kind of wondering. how many seasons did you all make it through before, you put up the vote to see if, guys wanted to keep playing? Like during a normal cycle, how many seasons do you get in?
Well, it's kind of fluctuated actually. This year, actually, only 4, and we just wrapped up season 4. And like I said, I mean, we could have kept going, but when half of the league is basically like on board with Madden, I don't want to drag them along. Last year, we played August, and we got, I think, 7 seasons in. So, which is why it's kind of frustrating that that's the situation that we found us in. We found ourselves in this year. Things change too. Some of our leaders got caught up in other things. One got a promotion and he wasn't around as much. Another one just got kind of frustrated with Madden and didn't want to play anymore. And so that hurts us too. But usually we try to get 4 or 5 seasons in. But I'm also one of those. I'm just not a believer of dragging people with you if they don't want to play. And it was obvious that morale was down and people weren't excited. As much as we try to do things like highlight shows and do different kind of content on our forum and live play-by-play, it just we were doing a weekly recap show with like Sports Center type graphics, all kinds of things. The guys just, I don't know, they lost interest in Madden for some reason this year. So this year we shut it down early, but hopefully next year they engage our guys more and we're able to keep going for longer.
I couldn't agree with you more. You cannot drag guys across the finish line. You're just going to burn yourself out. You might as well just call it a day. And it's interesting. We have the opposite of what you guys are experiencing. Last year, we had to shut it down in like June or July and come up with some kind of tournament for the handful of people. Like they were dropping like flies last year when it breaks, whatever. Whereas this year, guys want to keep going all the way. And so that's a good thing. I don't. It's intriguing to me how so many guys have just different experiences, and it just depends on your community. It probably has a lot to do with your leaders and their promotions and that kind of stuff that kind of feeds down below. And last year, that's what we went through. A lot of our leaders were disengaging, and it kind of affected the morale. Whereas this year, a lot of our leaders are still very much engaged, and so we got a lot of stuff. D. Wayne, before we put a bow, if you got anything, this is your time.
Oh, well, if I had to ask you anything, I just want to I guess, how do you make your league so attractive to potential owners or potential players?
That's been the magic carrot that we've been chasing. Honestly, it's funny. We actually get around 10,000 views per year on our sign up page.
Wow.
But we only get 100, 150 people that actually apply. And it kind of made me realize, I think the biggest part of it is we have like 4 pages of rules. And with Sim, there's so many different variations of it. For the most part, 2/3 of our guys like the in-depth rules that we have. But in our poll, we also found a third of them don't really like it. So restrictive, and it also keeps us from as big of a pool as we could have, right? Because we're so limiting in a lot of things because we're trying to keep a lot of the exploits and stuff out. So we're looking at ways to try to capitalize on more of those people that are coming through. Obviously, we do live play-by-play. We try to do the red zone. We've done it a few times. It's just hard to get 8 guys that are all playing at the same time. But we do things like that. You guys probably see I'm on Twitter a lot, probably more than I should be. I'm always out there trying to do stuff. So we just try to stay visible in the community. But to me, it's just doing unique things. Like I said, we kind of push the forefront with like the red zone and the live play-by-play, and other guys are trying to do it now, but that's not alone enough. So we're trying to look at weekly recap shows. Stuff like this podcast is great for people. You guys do a really good job with this, and I was engaged even though I'm not even in the league, and so your owners get to benefit by that. And I think for leagues just in general, I think you've like you guys say, you have to kind of know what you are and fit your user base, but you also have to look in that and try to think, what can we do? You might not have guys that like to do play-by-play or the technology to do that, but maybe you can do a podcast, maybe you can do a weekly recap show. You can stream it on Twitch, and show your screen, your Madden screen, like you guys are doing. If that's what it takes, just do something different, try different things, try to find things to engage people, and and then just have good leadership at the top, that understands what's going on and being consistent and, holding people accountable to the rules that you have and, being consistent with your advances and stuff like that.
Well, man, thank you so much for your time here on a Saturday afternoon, for
No
being
problem.
with us and joining our show. You've been great. What I'd love to do, though, kind of as you were talking, is, the summer's coming. In the summer, it's always, it's that time of the year. Everybody wants to be outside and they're doing things. But this summer, let's have you back. We'll get maybe some other commissioners to join us. We'll have another little podcast. I'd love to do just a conversation piece with a couple of different owners around sim and the meaning of that word, because we've kind of changed our outlook of sim. We've moved away from the word sim for a couple of different reasons that I think would be really intriguing to kind of present and talk that out with you and other commissioners and just hear everybody's view of what they call sim. We moved over to fair play language for a lot of the same things that you said. We do have a lot of rules also. We've kind of went back and forth. 16 years, we've seen a lot of different variations, but
Right.
Promise to have us back. Come join us again. We'll get some other commissioners to come join us. I think that would make for a great podcast.
I have a question real quick before we let me go. So one thing I've been thinking about doing is trying to engage the community and see what you guys think about it. But we've done our Red Zone show where we have 4 games going at the same time. And sometimes we have all 4 on the screen at the same time, or we'll focus in on one game if they're going, into the Red Zone, kind of like the NFL Red Zone. So what I thought about, since we're not doing our league anymore, and honestly, with one league, it's kind of hard to do, like I said, to get 4 games all queued up at the same time. What kind of interest would you have, or do you think there would be an interest if we tried to get 3 or 4 different leagues all to have a feature game of a week? Say we do it on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night, and each league picks one game of 2 guys that are, playing against each other and say, hey, you're going to be our featured game. We're going to put you on this. And then we'll run the Red Zone and we'll flip between leagues. We can talk about 3 or 4 different leagues at the same time, kind of give them all exposure and just bounce back and forth talking about their games. All the communities can kind of come together in the Twitch channel and talk about it and communicate with each other. Just an idea that I've bounced around. What do you guys think about that?
I think it would be outstanding. We'd be in, and we would definitely push and try to get owners to do it and find a game that fits that time slot. And yeah, we'd participate. What about you guys, Houday and Dwayne?
Oh, I'd love to participate in it. I like the spotlight. I'm in.
That sounds awesome.
All right. Well, we'll get together on Twitter and see if we can figure that out, and I'll contact some other leagues and see if we can put that together and let you guys know. I think that would be something good and help us start moving the needle as a community towards more group interaction and trying to, get us noticed a little bit more than just, always focus on a mutt in those tournaments and stuff like that.
I love it. And I'll also on Twitter today start calling out you and Lee Crawl and a couple of other commissioners that we're connected to. We'll see if we can't do, since again I write for Daddy League, instead we'll do a Daddy League podcast. We'll get all the commissioners on and we'll just talk about sim and our leagues and kind of our viewpoints. I think that would make for just an interesting podcast. So again, thank you so much for joining us today. Dwayne, Houday, thank you guys so much for being on and giving me some of your time today, man. The off season is here. Spring, hope springs eternal. Everybody's ready to go. Season 5 is on its way. Season 72 will be here next week. Draft is Sunday. Pre-draft show is going to start at 7:30. I know Dwayne, you're going to have to call in because you're going to be at work. But Houday, I know Maniac said he's in. Chaotic will be on. We'll get Brady on because everybody loves to hear Brady. So we'll get all those guys on. We'll do the pre-draft show. We'll start the draft at 8 o'clock. And then we'll have a whole lot of fun. Our draft shows are probably the best thing that we do here. It's the most fun. I have a ton of fun doing that with you guys. So I'm looking forward to it. So for all the leadership here at Grown Folks, for Houday and Dwayne here at OMFL, thank you guys for tuning in today. We'll get this out to you guys and we'll see you next week. Peace.
Good one, guys.